Every morning at 7:12, the Husky would do the same thing. He would sit beside the baby on the floor, press his face close, and hold it there for exactly as long as they let him. They thought he was seeking warmth. He was taking a measurement. It started the week Eli turned 6 months. Nadia and Cormac Whalen had raised Storm from a puppy, and he was now 2 years old, 57 pounds. The particular stripe of Siberian Husky that was gray-white and very blue-eyed and so physically beautiful that strangers sometimes stopped them on the street to comment on it. Storm was not a warm dog in the emotional sense. He was attentive, watchful, not cuddly. He had accepted Eli with the composed tolerance of an animal that did not feel threatened by new arrangements, which is why what he started doing at 7:12 every morning made no sense. He would wait. Nadia noticed this first. If Eli was still in the crib, Storm sat outside the nursery door. The moment Nadia brought Eli out for morning floor time, Storm followed, circled the playmat twice, and then lowered himself to the floor beside the baby and pressed his muzzle to Eli's face. Not nuzzling, not licking, not the social greeting behavior she recognized. His nose at the baby's nose, his eyes closed, drawing in slow, steady air, holding. Then he would pull back and sit up and resume normal behavior. Nadia mentioned it to Cormac the second morning. He watched it happen and said, "That's the same as yesterday." She said, "Yes." By the fifth morning, she had a camera set up. The footage showed what she had been observing, but from an angle she hadn't had before. Close, steady, from the corner of the room. Storm at 7:12, moving to Eli's side with that quiet directness, lowering his face. What the footage revealed that she hadn't noticed in person. Storm's nostrils were moving differently than during normal sniffing. Faster, more precise. The behavior of a dog triangulating a specific compound rather than cataloging a general scent. She sent the footage to her sister, who said, "He just loves the baby." She sent the footage to her veterinarian, who said, "This is olfactory investigation behavior. He's monitoring something." She sent the footage to the Husky Facebook group she'd been in for 2 years. And the first comment, from a woman in Minnesota who had a trained diabetic alert dog, said, "Is your baby's blood sugar being checked?" Nadia told the pediatrician that afternoon. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you are in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Eli's 6-month checkup had included routine blood work, but the specific panel for glucose metabolism irregularities had not been ordered because there was no family history. Nadia asked. The pediatrician, Dr. Fatima Rashid, ordered it. The results came back 3 days later. Eli had a mild but clinically significant form of congenital hyperinsulinism, a condition in which the pancreas produces too much insulin, causing blood glucose to drop, particularly in the early morning hours when an infant has been fasting through the night. The episodes were not severe enough to produce visible symptoms in Eli. No dramatic crying, no limpness, no sudden changes that would alarm a watching parent. Only a 7:12 pattern in a Husky who was taking the same measurement every morning. The neonatal endocrinologist, Dr. Henna Agrawal, reviewed Eli's case and explained, in early morning hypoglycemia, the body produces acetone compounds and isoprene in exhaled breath that are detectable to dogs at concentrations too low for human perception. A dog will often investigate the breath of a family member whose chemistry is shifting. The daily timing was not coincidence. 7 a.m. was consistent with fasting glucose naders in infants with this condition. Storm had been detecting the morning dip every single day and performing his check. Dr. Agarwal told them this was not severe enough to cause permanent damage at these levels. But over months, undetected and untreated, the repeated episodes would have had consequences. You caught it early. That matters. Has your dog ever done something every day at the same time that you only later understood? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Eli's treatment was dietary modification and monitoring. No medication at this stage. He is now 14 months old, developing on schedule, hitting every milestone. Storm no longer does the 7-12 check. Nadia noticed a change the week after Eli's diet was adjusted. Storm still comes to Eli in the morning. He still positions himself beside the baby on the floor. But the careful muzzle-to-face investigation, the closed-eye sustained sniff, the precise olfactory examination, that stopped. Nadia asked Dr. Agrawal about this. The doctor said his readings changed. What Storm was looking for is no longer there. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Storm sits beside Eli every morning at 7:12 still, not to take a measurement. Nadia watches them from the kitchen doorway, coffee in hand, and thinks about what it means that a dog was performing daily medical surveillance with his nose and no one noticed until a camera confirmed it. She doesn't have a word for the feeling. It is somewhere between gratitude and awe and a very particular kind of humility. Storm puts his chin on Eli's shoulder and closes his blue eyes, and the baby grabs his fur with both fists and laughs. The next story is about a dog who started doing something every night at 11 p.m. sharp, and what he'd already understood about the family he'd been assigned to protect.